Sonoma Brain Trust. I am Chelsie Runnings with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate, and I have my fearless co-host with me today, Darren Blonski with Sonoma Wealth Advisors, and Mary Piasta with Haeuser, Valluzzo, and Piasta. And today we are bringing you a few things in the markets, real estate, financial, and Mary is going to start us off with a new law that we all need to know about. So Mary, how about you give us the deets on what's going on with this law?
Yeah, well, hi everybody. So here we are, 2021, businesses are reopening. And of course, in California, that means that the COVID notification procedures are in play. So there is a new law that rolled out that is important for you business owners to know about. And this pertains to what happens if someone in your establishment has been exposed to COVID. There is a two-stage notification requirement. The first stage is 24 hours. Within 24 hours, the employer is required to give notice to employees, employers, and subcontractors and exclusive representatives with respect to the fact that there was an exposure. Folks ask, well, does this
what's an exclusive representative?
Exactly. And here we go. Darren's on target again. So this law is very specific. If you have questions about it, read it, talk to your employment lawyer, because these definitions give examples. So an exclusive representative, I think it's targeted towards unions, but it could be other folks who are acting on behalf of the business. So, and those people who are acting on behalf of the employees. So you've got to the idea is to give notice to everybody. If someone's a volunteer, they all need notice too. So be over-inclusive, people. Then there's a second time frame that kicks in at 48 hours. Within 48 hours, notice has to be given to certain governmental agencies. That is all specified in the requirements. So to dive into this a little bit deeper, for the first step of the 24-hour period, I've quoted part of the requirements here to give some detail. So again, the notice has to be sent to anyone who is on the same work site. It's got to comply with the CalOSHA Form 300 injury and illness log, and it also has to state COVID-19 related benefits under all other laws. Lastly, it's got to include the employer's disinfection and safety plan. So, hey, employers, if you don't have one, now's a good time to get one. Step 2, this is the written notice that you're going to give to a, quote, local public health agency in certain situations if the number of cases defined as an outbreak is of a certain level within a 2-week period. So once you hit and have the exposure, look into that, keep records, and track them. If it is over a certain time frame, then you're letting the public officials know. Then there's a third step, and that is with any business practice to keep records. And this is an ongoing requirement. So what employers need to do is show that they are following these requirements and have corporate records of doing so. Those records must be kept for a 3-year period. So after that, guess what happens? The information is supposed to get published, and I could go on a rant here so much about privacy, right? I mean, here we are in America, and this is all going to get published? What? So it creates a tension between the right of the individual and the employer and the government. I mean, it's all of these things. In addition, OSHA can actually prohibit usage or entry into an area where there has been a, quote, imminent risk to employees. This is also known as a stop work order. The rules on this actually have a carve out so that there can still be the ability of the employer to remedy the situation in that area. But people, be warned that, this is a serious thing and the government is going to be implementing it and taking action. So for further information, I always like to tell businesses and interested individuals to check out the source materials. And here I've listed 2 websites where you can find those materials, both California government websites. So go there, get your questions answered, be proactive, and stay safe, people.
So how many times this year am I going to get notified that I've been now exposed to COVID? Like, is this going to be a weekly occurrence? Like, hey, I was exposed again. Like I get the point of the rules, but like seriously, at some point, like I got a call from this morning from a client who was just really beside herself because an area where she attends frequently has an outbreak. And I'm like, look, this is normal now. Like, relax, take a deep breath. We're all exposed constantly, and take care of your health and hope for the best,
Right. And, follow Biden's executive order, mask. Like, everybody wear your mask, wear your double mask if that makes you feel better. Like, do what you need to do. But, know that if you're a business and you're reopening in this climate, there are additional things you've got to do. So, I mean, it's a challenging time for people. But to your point, Darren, yeah, I mean, it's something we're all just dealing with. Chelsie, how's it affecting real estate? Are people out showing properties a lot now? Or
what's even more interesting, let me transition that into Chelsie, is that even with all these laws and all the people moving out of state, real estate's up what, Chelsie?
So real estate in Sonoma County has a 26% growth from last January to this January. If we look at the 2 months, we ended this January with a 26% growth in Sonoma County as a whole, and it all had a 6% increase in sales price. Sonoma Valley saw a 72% increase in sales volume. A slight decrease in price of 1.6%, but 72% increase in growth. So,
and that's from when to when?
That was looking at last January compared to the end of this January.
Are you sure that's not supposed to be 27%? It's really 72.
72 in Sonoma.
That's unbelievable. Wow.
Is there any inventory at all?
So I actually had some numbers there's Santa Rosa has 250 listings total, and Sonoma Valley has like 54 total for the entire valley. That's like Kenwood, Glen Ellen, Sonoma Valley, or Sonoma. The market is holding steady, and I'm going to just throw this out there. Real estate, I think, is going to be what pulls the economy out of the recession. So much money goes into real estate, and beyond just the home sellers that get the money and the lenders, there's the appraisers, the home inspectors, the movers, the landscapers, the painters. There's so many parts in a real estate transaction that often get overlooked, but that just is so much money circulating that goes back into our economy. So
that's interesting. It's an interesting point. I think that, as long as rates stay low or only gradually move up, that could be the case. And we're certainly seeing some movement up on the rates. And so I wonder how that impacts the market. Where's that break even point where it slows it down, if it does slow it down. But, it's like I had a client send me this link on, I don't know, one of the realtor websites or whatever. And he's like, hey man, what do you think about this house? It's like $1.3 million. I'm like, dude, I don't know. Maybe you're not overpaying, but it looks like to me you're overpaying. You probably should get a second opinion on that one.
Well, with the rates being so low, if somebody were to go get a mortgage for $600,000 at a rate of 3.5%, if they got their interest rate down to 2.5%, they would have 25% more buying power.
That's wild.
Yeah. They could keep their mortgage the same, like their monthly mortgage payment the same, and go up in purchase price at that lower interest rate. And that's what a lot of people are taking advantage of right now. And
yeah, but if interest rates are low, doesn't that just mean that it's really driving up the prices so everybody can get more money?
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But it's giving buyers the opportunity to buy more house. So even though the price of the house is more, the overall like monthly payment is lower, and over like a 30-year loan, that's like $100,000 in savings. A 5% interest rate to a 3% interest rate is over $100,000 in savings over a 30-year loan.
And then anyone who's not buying real estate is buying GameStop.
Yeah, I missed that one.
Like, that was stupid. Yeah, it's really interesting. It'll be interesting to see too, because I think they extended the moratorium on foreclosures, right?
Mhm.
And they extend that till June. And if that's extended, I wonder if at some point, because there's such a lack of inventory on the market, that there's actually political pressure to lift the moratorium to create more inventory on the market, which is kind of
No,
a sad thing, but
they passed Prop 19 so we could get more inventory, remember?
that's right.
Well, but that's what happened, right? I mean, the moratorium is, I mean, that could also help with that issue.
The moratorium is absolutely killing turnover right now.
Mhm.
There'd be a lot more turnover right now from they're just, I mean, when you look at the numbers across the board, people from, age 20 to call it 60 are suffering from this whole COVID crisis. People 60 and older doing far better. And a lot of those houses would be turning over because people just wouldn't be able to afford them. So I think once they lift that, then you'll see actually people leave the state in larger numbers. And that'll be interesting to see if if they lift the moratorium, if there can be an equilibrium achieved where people don't have to leave. There's enough people still buying to counterbalance the people leaving.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, an interesting few months ahead of us. I think summertime is where we're gonna really see some shifts coming, like summertime, fall. Just out of this.
Yeah, that's kind of my gut feel too with, the vaccinations. We're only at 2% vaccinated right now. And Fauci said we got to get like 70 or something.
Yeah.
But they're getting out there. I'm definitely more frequently hearing about people who have vaccines and also hearing about weird issues with them, but whatever. That's like a portion of the population always with anything.
Do you see any change in the markets with the vaccine rollout? Or, I mean, obviously last week was wild with GameStop and AMC and everything else, but are we seeing anything happening over there?
Yeah, I mean, the only really outcome of GameStop is it increased the volatility in an exponential way. And what that ultimately does is it triggers like hedge funds and mutual funds that have risk parameters. So when the volatility of the market, meaning there's lots of movement on it, goes up, then everybody gets their risk allocation reduced pretty much across the board. So that could force a lot of selling. And that was the broad kind of issue we saw happening last week. But I mean, the ability for the S&P 500, if we're just looking at the chart, to repair itself is amazing, right? So you can see this is going back. This is the COVID crisis. This is the bottom of the COVID crisis. This is our move up. And each time we kind of fall apart in the market, you can see these instances. And we had another one last Friday right here. And then we just bought right back up, which meant there's tons of demand in the market that just comes in and swoops in. And this chart's pretty much repaired now. And does that mean it's going to continue? No, doesn't mean it's going to continue. We know what's going to happen. But, the way that chart looks right now, we're very likely to see all-time highs today or tomorrow at close today or tomorrow at close. I don't know if it'll happen, but it's loading up right now for that to happen. And so, yeah, I think generally the news about the vaccine is good news, and it's generally being looked at that by the market. We've also got stimulus coming out. We've created an economy now that's addicted to stimulus, and I don't think we're ever going to be able to pull away the stimulus. It's going to have to be very gradual, but some would argue that the whole COVID crisis we had is because we started pulling away stimulus from 2009. So yeah, I mean, all in all, things look like they're intact. We're not seeing a lot of issues with the markets right now. They're moving forward. They're strong. It's a day by day thing though.
And that's why it's so great for you viewers to come back and check us out every week, because things are changing in rapid course.
That's right. That's right.
Thanks so much for hanging out and stopping by to see what's new, you guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for weekly updates of Facts Over Fear.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.